Welcome to Legacy of Love and Laughter. I am Alicia and
I'm Valerie.
we do these videos. We started out doing them for our kids and our grandkids and whatever, and then they kind of took off, and a lot of other people like them, so they're for you too. And today is the uh, day before Christmas Eve. And so we've got our little Christmas
Yeah.
spirit on. Valerie's concerned that hers won't be seen. Lean up close so they can see her. There,
Aren't
there.
those cute?
They're elf stockings. I think it's pretty
The
cute.
elf head is down here.
So, anyway, today we wanted to talk about traditions and rituals because they're really, really important. And yet, people they kind of got lost in the shuffle a bit. Do you
Young
think?
people have changed it so much. Not what it used to be.
Yeah, but I believe that we know something about it that maybe can help them enhance it. Do you ever hear people saying, it just doesn't feel like Christmas?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, when they say it just doesn't feel like Christmas, there's a good chance one of the things that's missing is their Christmas traditions. And it's hard because they're different for everyone. And as we grow and our kid families get bigger and bigger, they do get shifted and people spread out. My family's all over the United States. Hers is all here in a little knot.
I'm really lucky. Really, really
You
lucky.
are very, very lucky, but it is what it is. So I try to keep the traditions alive with my family by reminding them there's some things I do. One of our things with the holidays, with Christmas, would be nuts and tangerines and stuffed dates. And so I send them to my kids. Can't send the tangerines. I just can't do that. so
You'll
I
never make it.
no, no. So I send, oh, and of course, our great grandmother's recipe of the actual molasses cookies. So, what are some of the ways you try to keep traditions going in your family?
A lot of ours revolve around food because most of the time when my kids were really young, and even now, uh, we got together at my house, and I have the big kitchen, and everybody kind of contributed and helped and did the work, and it was bonding. Cooking and bonding, it sort of goes together. And I'm very grateful I got to teach all my kids how to do what we do. A lot of it in Polish tradition but that's where we went on Christmas when the kids were little. When we were little, we've been doing that for years.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, that's another thing. Cultural traditions are very different because we'd go to my mom's parents as well as our mom's parents, as well as our dad's parents, and one was very Polish, and the other was German, Scotch, Irish, and didn't have a lot. I don't think they had a lot of traditions, and um,
They're more serious or something like that. They're not
yeah,
as
it
much.
was nice. It was pleasant, Christmas tree, all that stuff. But it was the European part of the family. That part seemed the Polish part had seemed to have a lot more.
Certain kinds of foods you always had it. You had pierogies. You don't have Christmas without pierogies and kielbasa, and there's just so many things.
Well,
I
and this Christmas, I sent to my kids that are out of state. I sent Millie's pierogies because they're about as good as it gets without having to make them yourself. Which I do love to make them, but they don't ship well.
No, they don't. That's why I'm really grateful that my girls know how to make pierogies.
All my family knows how to make them. As a matter of fact,
I do too. I don't
um,
make them, but I know how.
my grandson Mark told me that he and his wife, his wife Lourdes, who's Hispanic, that they're going to
With a
make
Polish
pierogies
edge.
from our family cookbook that I did a number of years ago. So it warms my heart when they, first of all, when they like what I.
Let's see, what did they call them? They called them Polish, no, German egg rolls. And so it was like a Chinese egg roll, but it had the different fillings, and I can't even tell what was in it to tell you the truth. But they were really, really good. I didn't have hope for it until I ate one.
That's true. So it is nice. You can make fusion, but you also stick to those standards. You know the
Like his wife and being Hispanic and him being that's kind
yeah.
of nice. You can make an effort.
Oh, absolutely. They do tamales. Do you know? I've never had a tamale,
Neither have I.
but that's because traditionally they have lard in them and meat, and so we don't do that. But Lourdes, if you're listening, I would like for you to tell me how to make some vegetarian tamales. I'm going to call you out on that. So the traditions are different for everyone. Some are religious or spiritual, and some are um, uh, cultural, local to the area that you're in. One of the things that is a spiritual one for us is the Advent wreath. Now, that's where you put the candles. We've talked about that in previous Christmas videos. You put the candles, they use four, I use five. Um, well, four candles each week of Advent. So it's for the weeks of Advent, and each week has a theme. There's hope, peace, love, and joy, and they represent the coming of Christ. And then I put a red one in the middle that it represents Christ incarnate. So the white ones, I have four white and a red, Christ in spirit, Christ incarnate, and you have pink and purple.
Pink and purple. Yeah.
Yeah. And so but you can get a wreath, you can stick the candles in it, and you can light them one each week. It increases 1, 2, 3, 4, so by the fourth week of Advent you've got four candles going, beautiful, all different heights. But if you miss out if you miss looking at the theme for that week. This week, because Christmas is here, is joy. So for the whole week, you get to think about joy. Now, that's very interesting because God's giving us a very good reason. Did you notice the coat?
He's got a fur collar on it and everything.
She's cold. I'm cold.
Freezing.
Yeah, and it was so cold
It
last
was
night.
9 degrees or whatever.
It was 5. Well, we came over here, it was about 16, but it was 5 degrees this morning when we woke up. I woke up at her house because my house is not quite so well insulated, and it got kind
Not such a
of
big fire.
yeah, so we had a movie marathon. I think that's a tradition we can start.
Start that.
I think we're going to start that as our.
Some very interesting things that we never heard of before.
Yes. And we looked at some old Christmas movies because we remember traditions they had that we don't have.
And when you watch the
Um,
movies, sometimes you know why we don't have them anymore.
yeah, that one about the squirrel was a little sketchy. But
Jimmy Durante, people don't even know who he is.
no. If you get a chance, look him up. He is quite an interesting and funny man. Um, so another tradition. So back to the Advent wreath, we want to make sure that there are prayers and scripture readings and stuff that go with them, and that's really going to make it better. Because you get a deeper meaning. Um, if you just light candles and it's pretty, but that's about it. But when you have the meaning attached to it, that
Well,
makes
it's nice.
difference.
I have my Advent wreath on my kitchen table. It stays there all the time. And when I walk by it is when I think of it. I don't go and I'm going to make extra plans for my Advent wreath. It's a given. I'm always going to have the Advent wreath on the kitchen table. You know,
That we can see. They're kind of gray today. Maybe
her
that's
hair it's remarkably purple.
maybe that's because we're so cold.
Yeah.
'Cause we are cold. So when I get back from Valerie's house today, so we could do the video here, my little heater in the living room has gone out. So great timing, God. But
I have a nice warm house and I live right across the street, so we
This is
saved her.
true.
We aren't going to let her die overnight.
this is true. I also will say that we have, I'm blessed that there is a roof over my head. And think of those who can't. That's another wonderful tradition for Christmas is giving.
Yeah.
And there's lots of people looking for money. And you know what? If you got it, give it. We can help make other people's lives so wonderful. Another tradition that I don't do anymore, I certainly made a run for it, is midnight mass. And in the Catholic tradition, I don't know if other religions do midnight
I
mass.
don't either, but we still do.
Yeah, yeah.
I do not go. It's crowded. It's full of people and kids, and
Yeah.
which is wonderful. I'm very, very, very grateful that they're going and taking the children and everything. I'm just getting a little too crotchety and old to be putting up with it and not hearing the mass at all because there's too much going on in the church.
It is still a good tradition, and it is it's so wonderful. I tried it in my Unity church. Now Unity is a little different. A lot of Unity churches do their Christmas on the Sunday before, because it's a blend of religions. And so I thought I was going to be really smart my first year in ministry and decided to have a midnight service. And like three people showed up. It was hilarious.
They probably loved it.
I cried. Nobody came. We kept everybody up, and yeah, so that was a bit of a challenge. But anyway, midnight mass is a beautiful thing. There's lovely music and candles, and I am picking Mimi up from the airport at 10:30 Christmas Eve. So maybe if we're back in the area by midnight, we'll drive by, see how many cars are there, and see if we might pop into midnight mass. And even though it's not my particular
There's always room in the
path,
church.
yeah, that's true. There's always room in the church. When I did a Christmas service every year that I had a baby in the church, we did a living nativity, and I can't tell you how powerful that was.
Oh yeah, people love that.
Did you ever go
Especially-
to one?
Yes, as a matter of fact, but it wasn't at home. I'm trying to remember where we were, but they were, I don't know if it was Texas, maybe, with my parents. I'm not sure, but I did go to one, and they actually had live animals and everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, oh, I went to another one in Vermont. It was beautiful. They had it on the hill. There was snow on the ground, and they had the real donkey that she came in on. It was really quite lovely.
In California, I used to go to a little Hispanic Catholic church before I found Unity, and they actually had a donkey in the church, and it was so cute. It was all done by the kids, and the kids had little towels on for the burnous, and it was so precious. Yeah. So, and I also, you know what else I did? I went to the Crystal Cathedral.
Wow.
That's in California, and it's a huge church that's made like largely with glass frames, and that was very nice, and it was beautiful. They had candle, little. You go in and they give you a little electronic candle. I wouldn't want to think about candles in a group that big. So, a living nativity. When you, what we would do is we would get to the end of the service.
This year, movies though.
Yeah, movies. Well, and we saw some. We participated in some when we were kids, and it was really a really fun thing. So if you get a chance to do a Christmas pageant, that's wonderful. Um, let's see. I'm trying to. We are participating in what is called the oral tradition. The oral tradition means we're sharing stories by mouth of our personal experiences that will hopefully touch our families and their lives. Um, so, what else can you think of some of the traditions you had and how they expanded when you married Donald?
Well, they expanded by adding like a whole extra day. We went to our grandparents, for Christmas Eve every year, and his parents would have right after midnight mass. They would have a little get together where everybody got to open like one package, and then they had to get together the next morning, and then we had to go to our parents' house. It was like one tradition after another, all beautiful, all different. Got harder and harder as we had three children come along. So the New Britain part of it kind of got pushed to the back. Tradition, as beautiful as it is, going all the way from Moodus or Haddam, which is where we're living part of the time, at that hour of the night, and getting home at 2 in the morning and expecting to get up the next day and go to another family. So you can overdo a tradition. Pick and choose. Make sure everybody
Yeah.
gets a share because we all deserve to.
Yeah, make sure everybody
Yeah,
gets a share.
because it's very hard if one family feels left out.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I'm gonna have a quiet Christmas this year because I'm not in charge. Things get much quieter when I'm not in charge, which is good. My kids are pretty much moving in and taking over. It's going to be in my house, but I have no idea what we're gonna do.
Well,
New traditions.
well, I will have a very quiet Christmas with Mimi and me. I'm sure we'll pop in to see Valerie uh, during the time that
It'd
Mimi's
be
here.
very sad if she
And
didn't. So
what I used to do aside from the regular, we did the whole thing like she said, but also I would have an open house every year. It'd be the weekend before Christmas.
and that was a new tradition for our family.
Yes, and I did it for many years, and I did it when I would send out all my Christmas cards, which is a that's a tradition past for me. I do think it's important to reach out though. But anyway, so I would send Christmas cards and I'd put down these are the days, these are the times. I would cook like a maniac, put stuff in the freezer, get ready, make cookies, and then people would just come and pop in and hang out and eat. Of course, a lot of times the thought was they'd come and hang out for a couple of hours and they'd hang out like for the day. Again, more people be showing up.
You gotta be more
How
more
much of
clever
that
about your
food did I make?
invitations.
Well, I haven't done that in many years, although I wanted to do it this year, but I just went to
Good thing you didn't. It's
Florida.
chilly.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Um, it's another funny story, a tradition in the Polish is the oplatki, and that is a wafer. It's a little wafer, and it
Very,
has
very
a
thin.
holy picture and embossed on it. It's very thin. It looks like communion, which leads me to the reason for telling this story. I am humiliating myself in front of everybody so that I can maybe help you not humiliate yourself or anyone else. I went to Steve's house the first Christmas. He was my former husband, that was who I met 61 years ago today. Yeah.
Mistake.
That's
Mistake.
history. That's history.
Mistake.
But anyway, well, I have 4 beautiful children and stuff, so they were priceless. But anyway, I went to his family, and they've got this aplatki. Now, the idea of the aplatki is it's a wafer, and the husband and wife, the head of the house, and I would hand it out to my congregation every year, and I explained what it was as I handed it out.
Yeah, it's the best thing to do is explain before you make an embarrassing mistake.
This is true. I was totally humiliated.
Everybody's is a little different. We pick up different traditions that way. It's, everybody wants to have their bit to say, and I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. The important thing about a tradition is that it's not empty.
Yeah, there's a reason for
You
it.
have to know why you're doing it, and I think that that makes it so much more meaningful, so much richer, and it draws us closer to the reason for the season, as they say.
Yeah, it's nice. Traditions sort of hold families together.
They
you
do.
know, and I think it's important that you back each other up. You stand up for what the other people stand for. Family is such an important thing now, and we get so spread out with everybody having big important jobs or obligations, and the whole holiday gets lost in the shuffle. It's kind of too bad.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily mean it has to be more religious or anything, because it's pretty religious, at least in our faith. You and us, and